Story number 1. Whispers of the Texas Suburbs. I still remember that warm summer evening in 2001. I was driving with my best friend, Sarah, through the Texas suburbs. We had planned a road trip together, eager to escape the busy city life and delve into the quiet that rural areas promised. Everything was fine until a chilling apparition suddenly flashed in front of our car. It was a ghostly figure, almost translucent, with eyes that spoke of untold horrors. Startled, I tried to swerve out of its way. We narrowly avoided the spirit, but I lost control of the car, sending us crashing into a nearby tree. The collision left us dazed, the car damaged, and our bodies bruised. Coming to our senses, we noticed an old man on a bicycle approaching us. He introduced himself as Gary, a local handyman, and offered to help. We were grateful, yet it struck me as odd that he wasn't surprised about our accident. He said, "You folks should have been careful, especially near the old village hospital." Gary helped us move the car to the side of the road and, seeing our condition, advised us to visit the village hospital. We weren't badly injured, but we agreed to get checked. Besides, our car wasn't going anywhere until the next day. We met Nurse Hannah at the hospital. She was in her early 50s, with eyes that had seen many tales. After attending to our bruises, she told us to rest for the night. As evening turned into night, Sarah and I began hearing whispers from outside. Curious, we peered out the window and saw apparitions wandering the woods near the hospital. They moved aimlessly, their hollow eyes searching for something. I turned to Nurse Hannah, searching for answers. "It's the ghosts of those who perished in a catastrophe years ago," she whispered, "a train accident, just down the road. So many lives were lost, and their souls, they say, remain restless." Gary, overhearing our conversation, nodded. "I've been investigating that accident for years," he confessed. "I believe there's more to the story than just an accident. The ghosts on the road, they're trying to tell us something, warn us maybe." With Hannah's and Gary's help, Sarah and I began investigating the accident. We found old newspapers and reports in the village library. It turned out that the train was carrying a dangerous cargo, which, if leaked, could have devastated the village. However, there were signs that the crash wasn't an accident but sabotage. Gary had a theory. Someone wanted that cargo spilled. "Someone with a grudge against this village," he said. As we dug deeper, we discovered that a business tycoon once wanted to buy the village land for development, but the villagers resisted. The train accident was an attempt to force them out. While we never found enough evidence to convict anyone, the spirits seemed to find solace in our efforts. One by one, they began to disappear, leaving the roads safer for travelers like us. We left the village a few days later, our spirits heavy with the knowledge of its tragic history. Every time I pass through those Texas suburbs, I remember the lost souls, Gary's determination, and Nurse Hannah's kindness. The village may have moved on, but the whispers of its past will always remain. Story number 2. The Shadows of Suburban New York. The night of July 17, 2002, is forever etched into my memory. The horrors of that night and the chilling secrets I uncovered in suburban New York still haunt my dreams. I was driving with my sister, Clara, taking the scenic route through the suburbs to enjoy the peaceful surroundings. The journey was smooth until a ghostly silhouette unexpectedly appeared on the road. The sheer shock of seeing the apparition caused me to swerve violently, crashing our car against a tree. We were both shaken and injured. Struggling to comprehend what had just occurred, a kind woman named Elise approached us. She was a historian researching the local area. Offering assistance, she called an ambulance to take us to a nearby rural hospital. There, we were greeted by Dr. Robert, an older gentleman with an air of melancholy. He treated our bruises and recommended that we rest overnight. As darkness enveloped the hospital, strange things began to happen. Shadows moved outside the windows, soft whispers echoed in the hallways, and ghostly figures seemed to be wandering the nearby woods. Clara, already distressed, whispered to me, "We need to find out what's happening here." Remembering Elise's profession, I thought she might have insights into the area's history. I approached her, and together with Dr. Robert, we began piecing together the dark past of the suburbs. Elise revealed, there was a massive fire in a factory here in the late 1800s. Many workers were trapped inside, and their lives were tragically cut short. Dr. Robert added, the factory owner had been cutting corners on safety to save money, leading to the catastrophe. The stories were heartbreaking. Children who worked there, young men and women, their souls had been bound to the land, unable to move on due to the injustice of their deaths. Their aimless wanderings on the roads had caused numerous accidents over the years, with drivers shocked and horrified by their sudden appearances. Determined to help these trapped souls, we decided to hold a memorial service, paying tribute to their memories. Elise documented their stories, Dr. Robert provided an old chapel, and Clara and I invited the local community. The night of the memorial was eerily silent. As we lit candles and shared stories, the atmosphere was thick with sorrow. But as dawn approached, a miraculous change took place. The restless shadows that had haunted the woods began to fade, and the chilling whispers grew silent. The next morning, as Clara and I prepared to leave, we felt a sense of closure. The trapped souls had found peace, and the roads of suburban New York were safe once more. As we drove away, I glanced back at the hospital and thought of Dr. Robert, Elise, and the spirits we had helped free. The experience was a chilling reminder of the past's power and the importance of remembering and honoring it. Story number 3. The Lost Souls of LA Suburb. The City of Angels, they call it. But on that fateful evening in 2003, the outskirts of Los Angeles seemed more like a city of lost souls. The chilling memories of what transpired still haunt me. It was dusk when my brother, Mark, and I drove down a less traveled road in the LA suburb. The sky was painted in shades of pink and orange. The beauty of the moment was interrupted when a spectral figure suddenly appeared in our path. I tried to maneuver the car to avoid it, but in my panic, I crashed into a roadside tree. Dizzy and bruised, Mark and I were met by a stranger named Victor. A journalist by profession, he'd been living in the area for years, documenting the suburb's hidden tales. He suggested we head to the nearby rural hospital. There, a kind-hearted nurse named Sophia attended to our injuries. As nightfall set in, unsettling occurrences began. Transparent figures wandered the perimeter of the hospital, their mournful eyes seemingly staring through us. The dim corridors echoed with hushed conversations, but when we tried to find the source, they'd cease. Overwhelmed by fear, Mark urged, "We need to understand this." Victor, intrigued by the phenomena, volunteered to help. Together, we delved into the archives of the hospital, seeking any hint of the suburb's dark past. Sophia approached us with a delicate, old newspaper clipping. There was an underground theater here, she revealed. It collapsed in the 1920s during a show. Many perished, trapped beneath the rubble. Victor's eyes widened. "I've read about this." Rumors said the theater's owner knew about the structural weaknesses but ignored them to save costs. The dead, unaware of the betrayal that led to their demise, are said to wander, seeking answers. It was heartbreaking. A night of entertainment turned tragic due to one man's greed. The victims' unrest had led them to haunt the roads and the hospital grounds. Desperate to aid these souls, we decided to create a memorial for the deceased. With Victor's contacts, we gathered testimonies from descendants of the victims. Sophia, Mark, and I arranged a ceremony on the grounds of the old theater's location. That night, as we honored their memories with candles and shared stories of their lives, a calmness seemed to wash over the area. Slowly, the apparitions that had haunted the woods and roads started to vanish, their spirits finally appeased. As Mark and I left the LA suburb the next day, we carried the weight of the history we had uncovered. But there was also a sense of peace, knowing that we had played a part in setting the lost souls free. The LA suburb might have its share of ghosts, but it also has stories of redemption, compassion, and unity. And that's what stays with me. Story number 4. The Foggy Secrets of San Francisco Suburb. In the summer of 2004, I ventured into a realm where reality blurred with the supernatural. The San Francisco suburb, known for its picturesque beauty, was the backdrop of an eerie tale I'll never forget. I was driving alongside my fiancée, Emma, keen to explore the outskirts of San Francisco. But the serene journey took a harrowing turn when a ghostly figure, draped in old-fashioned attire, manifested before our car. Shocked, I swerved to the side, hitting a lamppost. The next thing I knew, a gentle hand was tending to my wounds. I was introduced to Dr. Allen, who worked at the nearby rural hospital. He looked at our dented car and sighed. Not the first time this has happened. Seeing our confusion, a local librarian named Jane spoke up. Many travelers have reported ghostly sightings here, especially at night. Emma, pale from the ordeal, whispered, "We saw it too." Jane's eyes darkened. "It's the curse of the 1906 quake." Perplexed, I pressed her for details. Jane, with Dr. Allen's assistance, unraveled a spine-chilling narrative. During the Great San Francisco earthquake, a nearby theater was hosting a packed show. The tremors caused the theater to collapse, trapping hundreds inside. Their souls, unable to move on, wander these parts, especially the road where you had your accident. Dr. Allen added, "They're trying to warn people, to prevent further tragedy. But often, their appearance causes accidents instead." Driven by empathy and intrigue, Emma and I, with Jane and Dr. Allen's guidance, decided to dig deeper. We discovered old letters and memoirs in the library archives, illustrating the final moments of those trapped in the theater. Emma had a thought. What if we can help them? What if we give them a proper farewell? We decided to host a commemorative event on the grounds of the collapsed theater. Jane used her contacts to gather artifacts and photographs, while Dr. Allen reached out to the descendants of the victims. The night of the ceremony was shrouded in San Francisco's iconic fog. As we lit lanterns and shared stories of the departed, an uncanny silence engulfed us. It felt as if the spirits were listening, yearning for closure. Slowly, as dawn approached, the fog lifted, revealing a clearer, safer road. The subsequent weeks saw a significant drop in accidents. The lost souls of the 1906 quake seemed to have found peace. As Emma and I departed the San Francisco suburb, we left with heavy hearts and a tale few would believe. We had encountered the ghosts of the past, and in helping them, discovered the power of compassion, remembrance, and love. Story number 5. Mysteries of the Miami Suburb. The events of 2005 in a secluded Miami suburb are ones that remain vividly etched in my mind. As I reminisce, I can still feel the tropical warmth and the chilling cold of the unknown. I was driving with my childhood friend, Lisa, aiming to experience the less commercialized side of Miami. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the land. However, our tranquility was abruptly shattered when a spectral child darted in front of our car. Instinctively, I braked hard, veering off-road and into a ditch. Emerging from the dust was Diego, a local fisherman, and his friend Rosa, a historian. They rushed to our aid, pulling us from the wrecked vehicle. As they inspected our injuries, Rosa's eyes hinted at a deeper understanding. "The ghostly girl," she whispered, "many have seen her." As the night began to deepen, they advised us to stay at the village hospital. There, amidst the hum of ancient fans, ghostly apparitions frequently wandered the surrounding woods, their haunting stares unsettling to anyone who glimpsed them. Diego, familiar with our unease, divulged, "The souls you see are tied to a forgotten catastrophe of this place." Rosa, with her historical knowledge, painted a picture of the past. Decades ago, a school bus, filled with children, tragically veered off-road, plunging into a deep lake. The entire suburb mourned their loss. Lisa, her eyes brimming with tears, whispered, "We need to help them move on." With that resolution, we decided to delve deeper into the incident. Rosa procured old news articles, photographs, and eyewitness accounts. Diego led us to the exact location of the accident, where we found remnants of the bus, rusted and covered in aquatic growth. In our investigation, we found mentions of a lullaby the children loved. Lisa, ever the singer, proposed a plan. What if we sing for them? Give them a final lullaby? Together, with Rosa documenting the event and Diego rallying the locals, we organized a night vigil beside the lake. As Lisa began singing, the atmosphere shifted. A calm breeze stirred the water, and ghostly forms emerged, their expressions no longer distressed but peaceful. The apparitions, drawn by the lullaby, began fading away, moving towards a light that shimmered above the lake. By dawn, the woods were quiet, and the road seemed devoid of any spectral presence. As Lisa and I departed the Miami suburb, we carried with us not just memories of fear but also the profound satisfaction of having offered solace to lost souls. Diego's resilience and Rosa's knowledge proved invaluable in uncovering a tragedy and ensuring those innocent souls found peace. The journey was a testament to the intertwined nature of life, death, and the compassion that transcends both. Story number 6. Echoes of Orlando's Forgotten Tragedy. Back in 2006, a road trip through the United States led me to a harrowing experience in an Orlando suburb that still sends shivers down my spine. My cousin, Rachel, and I were eager to explore the less touristy parts of Orlando. Our enthusiasm, however, was suddenly halted when the translucent figure of a woman, in tattered clothes, appeared before our vehicle. Startled, I lost control, and our car skidded into a nearby ditch. As we assessed our injuries and the damage to our car, we were approached by Adrian, a local school teacher, and his friend, Beatrice, an amateur archaeologist. They extended their help in seeing our condition, suggested we recuperate at the nearby rural hospital. That night, as the crickets sang their lullabies, the tranquility was interrupted by spectral figures that roamed the woods surrounding the hospital. Their mournful eyes seemed to plead for something, and their presence filled the air with a chilling dread. Adrian, sensing our unease, shared, "This suburb is haunted by the memories of a terrible mining accident. Many miners, including women who worked there, lost their lives due to negligence by the owners." Beatrice, always carrying her research notes, added, "It's said they roam because they never received justice. Their families were never compensated, and the tragedy was covered up." Compelled to help and uncover the full story, Rachel and I decided to dig deeper. With Beatrice's archaeology skills and Adrian's access to local records, we unearthed a list of the deceased miners and some personal belongings that had been kept as mementos. We discovered heartfelt letters, photographs, and even a haunting melody a miner had composed for his beloved. It felt as though these items held the essence of their owners, their dreams, hopes, and love. With a heavy heart, Rachel suggested, "Let's give them a voice. Let's share their stories and let the world know." Organizing a candlelight vigil, we invited the locals to honor and remember the lost souls. Beatrice displayed the artifacts, while Adrian and Rachel read out the letters and stories. I played the haunting melody on an old guitar. As the night deepened, a miraculous transformation took place. The spectral figures, once filled with sorrow, seemed to glow with a newfound peace. One by one, they began to fade away, leaving behind an atmosphere of serenity. Upon leaving Orlando, Rachel and I carried with us not only the memories of the ghosts, but also the stories of lives cut short. The experience served as a stark reminder of the injustices of the past and the power of acknowledgement and remembrance. Adrian's wisdom and Beatrice's dedication showed us that sometimes, even in the face of supernatural occurrences, it's human empathy in action that can make a real difference. The souls of the Orlando suburb may have been lost to time, but for one night in 2006, they were remembered and honored. Story number 7. Desert Whispers, the haunting of a Las Vegas suburb. 2007, while most equate it with the glitz and glam of Las Vegas, my memories of that year paint a different, darker picture. It started as a spontaneous road trip with my college buddy, Alex. We were excited to experience the Las Vegas spectacle but wanted to explore its lesser-known suburbs first. But as the neon lights faded in our rearview mirror, we were met with a vision neither of us expected. The spectral image of a man in a miner's outfit loomed before us. Panicking, I swerved, leading our car into a ditch. Emerging from the dust, we were approached by Isabel, an investigative journalist, and her companion, Ethan, a geologist. They'd been researching peculiar events in the region and had witnessed our accident. Seeing our bruises, they advised us stay at the nearby rural hospital. By nightfall, however, our minor injuries were the least of our worries. The woods around the hospital played host to a parade of ethereal figures, their hollow gazes echoing tales of untold suffering. Isabel, seeing our alarm, remarked, "These are no ordinary spirits. They're tied to a forgotten chapter of this suburb's history." Ethan added, "Many years ago, there was a prosperous mine here. But a disastrous collapse claimed numerous lives, mostly due to the owner's neglect. The idea of these restless souls wandering because of someone's greed was heartbreaking." Alex, ever the empath, felt an urge to help. "What if we organized a memorial? An acknowledgement of their existence and suffering?" With Ethan's knowledge of the land and Isabel's research skills, we pinpointed the mine's exact location. Delving deeper into archived records, we unveiled personal letters, belongings, and even a song that the miners sang to keep their spirits high. A decision was made to organize a night of remembrance. Isabel managed to broadcast the event locally, ensuring that the town's residents paid tribute to its forgotten souls. As Alex and I lit candles, Ethan played the miner's song on his harmonica. The atmosphere was palpable. As the night progressed, the once tormented spirits appeared to find solace in our gestures, gradually fading away, leaving behind an unburdened land. As dawn broke, the Las Vegas suburb, once a place of haunting memories, transformed into a testament of remembrance and redemption. Driving away from the hospital, Alex and I were deeply moved. Isabel's determination and Ethan's compassion showed us the power of recognizing past wrongs and working towards setting them right. The glimmering Las Vegas Strip might have been our original destination, but it was the suburb's spectral tales and the souls we helped find peace that truly made our journey unforgettable. Story number 8. Whispers of the Wind, a haunting in Honolulu suburb. The year 2008 brought with it not just a new chapter in my life, but a haunting encounter in a Honolulu suburb that remains fresh in my memory even today. My sister, Natalie, and I had embarked on a much-anticipated Hawaiian vacation. The allure of serene beaches and vibrant cultures had drawn us in. One evening, while driving through a secluded suburb of Honolulu, our joyous journey took a spine-chilling turn. The ghostly apparition of a hula dancer appeared out of nowhere, causing me to swerve and crash the car into a tree. Mika, a local historian, and Kai, a spiritual healer, were passing by and rushed to our aid. They suggested we recuperate at a nearby rural hospital given the bruises we had sustained. As night enveloped the region, the tranquility was shattered by spectral figures drifting through the adjacent woods. Their haunting melodies and dances sent shivers down our spines. Seeing our distress, Mika shared, "The spirits you see are linked to an ancient village that once thrived here." Kai nodded. A tidal wave struck, wiping out the entire village. The souls remain restless, especially near the road, seeking to share their tale. Natalie, intrigued, pressed for more details. We learned about a ritualistic dance that was supposed to protect the village from harm. Unfortunately, it was left incomplete due to a conflict between two lovers. Kai believed that completing the ritual could bring peace to the spirits. Armed with Mika's historical knowledge and Kai's spiritual expertise, we decided to perform the dance at the site of the ancient village. With torches lit and the moon casting a silvery glow, Natalie and I began the hula, guided by Mika's instructions, while Kai chanted ancient incantations. The spectral figures began to gather around us, their energy transforming from restless to harmonious. As the dance reached its climax, a blinding light encompassed the area, and one by one, the spirits began to dissipate, leaving behind an overwhelming sense of peace. The next day, as Natalie and I prepared to continue our journey, we felt a deep connection to the land and its history. Mika's wisdom and Kai's spiritual guidance had not only helped restless souls find peace, but also enriched our understanding of the deep cultural roots of Hawaii. Driving away, the vibrant Honolulu cityscape on the horizon, I felt a profound gratitude. While the city held its charm, it was the haunted suburb and its tales of love, tragedy, and redemption that would remain with us forever. Story number 9. Ghosts of the Capital, the Suburban Enigma. The allure of Washington, D.C., with its historical monuments and political intrigue, was too hard to resist in the summer of 2009. But little did my friend, Henry, and I know that our venture into its suburbs would introduce us to a supernatural chapter of the city's history. We were navigating the winding roads when a ghostly figure of a soldier, still in his battered uniform, appeared ahead. Startled, I lost control, sending our car crashing into a nearby signpost. From the shadows emerged Deborah, a local archivist, and Thomas, a former soldier and now a historian. They offered assistance, and noticing our dazed state, suggested an overnight stay at a nearby rural hospital. But as the curtain of night fell, the hospital's surroundings turned eerie. Ghostly apparitions, resembling soldiers from different eras, emerged from the woods. Their haunting marches and the sounds of distant battle drums filled the night. Thomas, hearing our recount of the visions, remarked, "The ghosts you're seeing are from various battles, not just one." Deborah added, "This land was once a significant battleground, where many lost their lives. Their stories, filled with valor and tragedy, have faded into obscurity." Henry, always the inquisitive one, proposed, "What if we shed light on their tales? Maybe that's what they seek, recognition." With Deborah's archival skills and Thomas's military history knowledge, we embarked on a journey through time. We unearthed old journals, letters, and photographs, piecing together the lives and final moments of the soldiers. It became evident that a major clash had taken place on the very ground we stood on. A strategic failure had led to a massive loss, with many soldiers never receiving proper burials or honors. Moved by the tragic accounts, we organized a candlelit vigil. As Deborah read out the names and stories, Thomas played the bugle, paying tribute to the fallen soldiers. Henry and I, surrounded by locals, lit candles, creating a sea of lights amidst the shadows. The spectral figures began to congregate, their energies more serene than sorrowful. As dawn approached, they gave one final salute before slowly disappearing into the morning mist. As we left suburban Washington, D.C., the city's majestic monuments took on a deeper meaning for Henry and me. The experience taught us that every place, even one as grand as the Capitol, has its untold stories, and sometimes, they reach out from the past, seeking acknowledgement. Deborah's dedication and Thomas's reverence for his fellow soldiers had unveiled a forgotten chapter, ensuring that the spirits of the past were finally at peace. The trip became a poignant reminder that in remembering and honoring our history, we paved the way for healing and hope. Story number 10. Ghosts of the Windy City, a Suburban Nightmare. In 2010, Chicago had always been a place of intrigue for my sister, Leah, and me. Its mix of urban allure and historical depth promised an unforgettable journey. Yet, as we ventured into its suburbs one fateful evening, the shadows of the past would turn our trip into a haunting memory. As I was driving, the sudden appearance of a spectral figure, dressed in 1920s attire, caused me to lose control. Our car skidded, finally halting after hitting a lamppost. Out of the dark emerged Robert, a local journalist, and Eliza, an anthropologist with a keen interest in local myths. Observing our state and our battered vehicle, they recommended a night's stay at the nearby village hospital. But as night deepened, a haunting silence gave way to whispers. The woods surrounding the hospital became alive with ghostly figures, each reenacting their final moments, leaving Leah and me petrified. Eliza, sensing our distress, revealed, "These spirits are remnants of a bygone era." The suburbs saw a great tragedy linked to the city's underworld activities. Robert added, "A secret gathering turned violent, resulting in a mass tragedy." Their stories, buried beneath the city's booming progress, have been forgotten. Leah, her journalistic instincts kicking in, proposed, "What if we document their stories, give them a voice they've been denied?" With Robert's investigative prowess and Eliza's anthropological insight, we delved deep into the city's archives. Uncovering old photographs, newspaper clippings, and personal diaries, we pieced together the grim tale of ambition, betrayal, and retribution. Determined to offer some solace to the restless spirits, we held a vigil. Robert read out their stories, Eliza sang a traditional lament, and Leah and I placed candles at the edge of the woods. As the flames flickered, casting long shadows, the spectral figures slowly converged. Their once agitated energies began to calm, their expressions turning from despair to gratitude. With dawn's first light, they retreated into the woods, their presence fading but their stories forever etched in our memories. Our journey through the Chicago suburbs took an unexpected turn, but the experience was enlightening. With Robert's tenacity and Eliza's depth of knowledge, Leah and I had unraveled a forgotten chapter of Chicago's tumultuous past. Driving back towards the city's iconic skyline, the gleaming skyscrapers stood as symbols of progress. But we now knew that beneath their shadows lay tales of sorrow, waiting for someone to listen, to remember, and to honor. Story number 11. Echoes from the Shadows, the Boston Suburbs Forgotten. Autumn of 2011, Boston's famed foliage was our prime attraction. But the suburban serenity quickly turned into an experience that lingered much longer than the vibrant colors of the leaves. I was driving with my fiancée, Jenna, trying to capture the essence of Boston beyond its city limits. But our peaceful exploration took an unexpected turn when a spectral figure of a colonial woman suddenly appeared on the road. The panic made me swerve the car, crashing it against a stone wall. Emerging from a nearby house was Malcolm, an old historian, and Lorraine, a psychic medium. They assisted us, and after gauging our condition, suggested that we rest at the local rural hospital. But as darkness draped the suburb, the hospital grounds became a stage for ghostly apparitions. The figures, dressed in colonial attire, whispered tales of woe and desperation, haunting the woods. Lorraine, sensing our distress, said, "This land is steeped in history, especially from the colonial era. Some spirits here are restless due to unresolved events of the past." Malcolm added, "During the early colonial times, a massive fire engulfed the gathering hall here. Many perished, trapped inside." Jenna, her curiosity piqued, asked, "Is there a way to help them?" Malcolm proposed a plan. Researching the names and stories of those lost could provide closure. Lorraine nodded in agreement. Acknowledgement is powerful. Recognizing their existence might offer them peace. Diving deep into the archives, with Malcolm's guidance and Lorraine's intuitive nudges, Jenna and I uncovered poignant tales of love, betrayal, and community spirit that ended tragically due to the fire. We decided to organize a memorial. Lorraine conducted a ritual, while Malcolm recounted the stories of the deceased. Jenna and I lit candles, paying homage to each lost soul. As the evening grew darker, a warm glow enveloped the area. The spectral figures began to gather, listening intently. Their haunting presence slowly transformed into a peaceful aura, and one by one, they began to fade, leaving behind an atmosphere of serenity and gratitude. When morning came, Jenna and I prepared to leave the suburb, but our hearts were heavy with the memories of the night. Malcolm's vast knowledge and Lorraine's spiritual insights had unveiled a chapter of history that had long been forgotten. Driving away, the sun shining brightly on the Boston horizon, we realized that our journey had become more than just a touristy venture. We had connected with the past, ensuring that lost souls found their much-deserved peace. The suburb's ghostly tales were a reminder that in acknowledging and honoring the past, we can pave the way for healing and hope. Story number 12. The Lost Souls of Philadelphia's Outskirts. In 2012, seeking the rich history that Philadelphia had to offer, my partner, Adam, and I planned a trip. However, the tales we'd hear were not the kind sung by schoolchildren or penned by historians, but ones that whispered through the wind and haunted the trees of a quiet suburb. It was dusk when Adam drove us through a particularly foggy road. Suddenly, the ghostly figure of a blacksmith appeared, hammer in hand. Caught off guard, Adam swerved, crashing the car against a boulder. Two locals, Eleanor, a librarian with a penchant for local folklore, and Graham, a retired police officer, came to our aid. They suggested we spend the night at the local rural hospital to recover from our shock and minor bruises. But when the night deepened, the real ordeal began. The surrounding woods echoed with voices from the past. There were ghostly murmurs, and apparitions of men, women, and children in colonial attire appeared, their eyes searching, their expressions mournful. Eleanor, visiting us at the hospital, whispered, "These spirits are from an old village that once stood here. It was razed during a land dispute, leaving many dead." Graham added, "Several unexplained accidents have occurred on that road. Locals believe these spirits might be seeking justice or perhaps just acknowledgement." Adam, a history buff, suggested, We need to document their stories, give them a voice. With Eleanor's resources and Graham's investigative skills, we delved into the suburb's history. We uncovered tales of settlers, their dreams, disputes, love, and loss. At the heart of it was a land feud that turned violent, culminating in a fire that left many dead and a village destroyed. Feeling a connection to these lost souls, we decided to hold a memorial. At the site of the old village, we lit lanterns and read out the names and stories of those who'd perished. Graham played a soft tune on his flute, a melody from the era, while Eleanor recited a poem. The spectral villagers gathered, listening intently. Their once sorrowful expressions slowly changed to ones of peace. And as dawn broke, they faded away, leaving behind an air of tranquility. The sunlit roads of suburban Philadelphia looked different to Adam and me the next day. The haunting had turned into a tale of reconciliation and respect. Eleanor's knowledge and Graham's insights had shown us that sometimes, to move forward, we must look back, acknowledge the past, and pay our respects. Driving away, the city of brotherly love in the distance, we realized our trip had become a journey through time, where history, pain, acknowledgement, and healing intertwined in the most unexpected ways. Story number 13. Midnight Memories, the Forgotten Shadows of Dallas Suburb. In 2013, my brother Lucas and I embarked on a road trip, drawn to the charm and history of Dallas. We never imagined that our desire for adventure would lead us into the heart of a haunting mystery in a Dallas suburb. As we cruised through the peaceful streets, a ghostly apparition of a cowboy, his eyes hollow and filled with sorrow, suddenly appeared before us. Startled, Lucas lost control, sending our car veering off into a tree. Help came in the form of Clara, a local historian, and Donovan, an urban explorer with a keen interest in paranormal activities. They assisted us and suggested we recuperate at the village hospital nearby. The tranquility of the rural hospital was disrupted that night by ethereal shadows in the adjacent woods. Ghostly figures in period attire whispered tales of tragedy, their mournful cries echoing in the stillness. Donovan, recognizing our unease, shared, "This suburb has legends of a gold rush gone awry." Greed led to conflicts, betrayals, and a series of unfortunate events. Clara, her eyes filled with sadness, added, "An old mine nearby collapsed due to sabotage. Many perished, their dreams buried with them." Lucas, always intrigued by unsolved mysteries, proposed, "Let's find out more. Perhaps we can bring them some peace." With Clara's historical expertise and Donovan's exploration skills, we delved deep into forgotten archives. We unearthed diary entries, newspaper clippings, and even an old locket containing a faded photograph. Each artifact painted a picture of ambition, love, rivalry, and heartbreak. Deciding to pay homage to those lost souls, we organized a vigil at the site of the old mine. Clara recited their stories, Lucas played a melancholic tune on his guitar, and Donovan and I lit candles, placing them around the perimeter. The atmosphere was electric. The spectral miners, once restless, gathered around us, their demeanor shifting from anguish to gratitude. As the first rays of dawn pierced the horizon, they gave one last collective sigh and faded into the ether. The subsequent journey through the Dallas suburb was somber for Lucas and me. The city's skyline glistened in the distance, but it was the memories of the spirits and their untold stories that lingered in our hearts. With Clara's dedication and Donovan's courage, we had unearthed a buried chapter of history, giving peace to souls trapped in a timeless loop of tragedy. The experience served as a poignant reminder of the importance of remembering and honoring the past, ensuring that lost tales find their rightful place in the annals of time.